Good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go podcast. I'm your host, Desmond. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I committed that I was going to do a video every single day, and I am sticking to that commitment. We are on the 7th of January, um, and so far I've kept it. So that is my plan to continue to keep it. And I'm committing to doing the video, but I will also post like some shorts as well. Like I posted one earlier today about Sam Darnold, how there seems to be a large group of media members who are talking about Sam Darnold, that the Lions found the formula to beat the Vikings and to make Sam Darnold perform poorly, and that it seems to be to blitz him and give pressure up the middle. And my thought process is that's the formula and the way to beat 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. There's a few guys who are just athletic enough where that's not going to matter. And as someone pointed out, and Jared Goff is actually one of the other ones who actually just has a really, really high QBR against the blitz. And QBR can be skewed if you are a running quarterback or do scramble every now and then. But as we all know, Jared Goff is not that. So it was interesting. But that just kind of talking about my commitment on posting videos. A couple things I want to talk about. Number one is actually the quarterback that did not play in that Sunday night game, and that was JJ McCarthy. I don't know if everyone saw and it was very brief that they had JJ on the screen, but he looked he to me, and just from that just quick glance of probably not even a full minute, he looked really skinny to me. And I know he's never been a really big guy, but he didn't look great. One of my friends, Dre, had texted and just basically said that would you feel good about that gentleman being your franchise quarterback with just how light he looked? And it I would imagine that a guy who is rehabbing a knee injury and procedure, it would get like that impacts obviously your bottom half, and you can't do squats, things of that nature, but you can bench press all day. You could do all the curls that you need to, shoulders, and I understand he's a quarterback, so he's not going to be lifting the way a running back would, but I would imagine with some strength training, nutrition, some flexibility, mobility that I'm sure he would want to work on with just, being a quarterback and shoulders and all that, that he should be maybe not in tip-top shape, but I feel like he should maybe look a little better than he did. I like I said, who knows? It may be no big deal, and next season he's ready to go for training camp and looking strong and big and all that good stuff. And then also too, and this is just sidebar, the hair looks, I don't know. I am used to seeing JJ McCarthy with the shorter hair. He played at Michigan, and I live in Michigan, so I've seen, basically all of his games in time while he was at Michigan. But I don't know. I didn't love the hair. It was kind of odd, but hopefully he gets back right and rocking and rolling. We'll see. I think the Vikings playoff game is going to have a big impact on how soon or late we see JJ. I think if Sam Darnold plays well in that game against the Rams, basically the way he's played all season outside of the Lions game, I think we may see JJ's timeline be pushed back quite a bit, because I think there's a chance that Sam Darnold does get re-signed and extended by the Vikings. I've heard a lot about the franchise tag potentially. We'll see. I think like I said, I've made a video on it. Actually, the last one I did was basically, do you let a guy who's playing pretty darn well walk out of the building just because you drafted a guy number 10? I mean, we saw the Arizona Cardinals draft Josh Rosen number 10. The very next year, they drafted Kyler Murray and cut Josh Rosen almost immediately. So the goal is to get a quarterback who performs at a high level. And if you've got that, whether you have to pay 40, 50 million for him, or he is a guy on a rookie contract where you basically pay him nothing, do not care. You got to get it done. So we'll see what happens, and definitely hoping for the best with for JJ. The other thing we wanted to talk about was the Vegas Raiders have fired Antonio Pierce after hiring him last year. He was the interim coach for, gosh, what was it, 7 to 10 games, something in that range, and he had gotten the backing of the players in the locker room, and they really wanted him to be the permanent head coach, and they decided to hire him full time, and they decided to fire him. And the thing that is, so number one, the weird part is the GM is staying, which I would argue the person who most impacted them losing was the general manager. If you are going into the season with Gardner Minshew as your put in pen starting quarterback, not, hey, our starter got banged up, we got to go to Gardner. You are putting the franchise, giving the keys to the kingdom to Gardner Minshew. You are already putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And that was the GM's decision. Antonio Pierce doesn't have personnel power in Vegas. That was on Tom Telesco, but somehow he sticks around. You fire the head coach. The team, you had Davante Adams, you had Max Crosby, you drafted Brock Bowers. You had some pieces that I think you could work with, maybe not to the tune of winning 11 or 12 games, but when you don't have a quarterback, it's a non-starter. It doesn't matter what else we're going to talk about. Max Crosby is a terrific defensive end. I wish the Lions would have traded for him. I would have mortgaged the future to get Max Crosby on our team, to pair him up with Aiden Hutchinson, especially after Hutch went down. I really wanted them to do it. And he's a Raider, and he didn't, he stayed. Davante Adams, you ended up trading him away to the Jets, which was also odd. I mean, I don't know. Davante was still productive there with the Raiders. It may not have been the number one in receiving yards, but basically since he had become a Raider, he had the most touchdown catches of any wide receiver during that span. So it's not as if he, quote unquote, fell off, but it really didn't matter. Brock Bowers is a terrific tight end. I think he caught over 100 passes this season. Awesome. And they are terrible. Really terrible. And a good chunk of that is because Gardner Minshew was your plan. He was your plan. Gardner Minshew should always be the backup plan. He should never be the plan. And they planned for it. Then you had Aiden O'Connell, and you went back and forth with that. It was just a mess. I'm not sure what you expected Antonio Pierce to do there with that. Who knows? I think if I were Telesco, I would seriously think about just blowing this thing up. Max Crosby, I'll trade him. Who's highest bidder? Give me some draft picks. Because the team, you've traded Davante, you've got Crosby. He's probably the only tradable piece that you have. You can't trade Brock Bowers. I mean, it would just be silly to do that. I mean, he's a young player on a rookie deal. I would stick with obviously Bowers, and you need to find a quarterback. And if you're not going to find one this year, you need to make sure you get a king's ransom for the 2026 draft so you can get one, or get yourself in position to sign a free agent quarterback to be able to be a serious franchise. Because this is crazy. It's I mean, the Raiders are well past being embarrassing, because they are that for sure. And I did a video, gosh, before the season started, so it had to be July, August, something like that. But I thought this would be a perfect spot for Dak Prescott to come in and get $60 million. I thought the Raiders would have ponied up and given him that deal. I actually thought Dak was looking to get to true free agency. I didn't think he was going to sign an extension. Thought he was going to just let his contract run out. He didn't have a no trade, or I'm sorry, he had a no franchise tag clause in his contract. So the Dallas Cowboys, had Dak Prescott not signed this $60 million extension, Dak would have been a free and clear free agent. They couldn't have put a franchise tag on him, exclusive or non-exclusive. He would have been a free and clear true free agent. And I thought Vegas would have been a perfect spot for him, but he decided to sign that extension. I think it was $239 million fully guaranteed. So I get it. But yeah, the Raiders are a mess. And it's just going to continue being a mess because that's what teams that have poor ownership does. They are just bad and embarrassing. You could throw the Jags in there. The Giants are there. I think Chicago's there. Dallas. It's a mess. So we'll see what happens. But that is it for me. Peace.